Hey everybody, welcome back to my layout. This will be a layout update video for September 2021. Let's take a look at what's new on the layout. Didn't spend a whole lot of time in the basement this last month, but when I was down here, I was working on the first floor roof of the Banff station. You can see I've got the original 1910 roof is done, so that was how it was built originally in the plan. And what I've still got left to do is the addition right here. It was like a baggage cold storage type thing. They added onto the station sometime in the 70s, I think. So I've got another little peak to do right here that basically adds on. It steps down one angle and then basically follows the same kind of roof line. The eaves all the same and everything. Just to make it a little bit more difficult, they had to go and add that thing on there. So that'll be like a modern day station that I'm going to do with that addition. So you can see I've got some markings on there, and that is the next step on the station. So I'm trying to get more of a profile view there. My original idea, I was going to do the roof material out of balsa, and I had bought some sheets of this. It was nice and long, and the problem, and I've mentioned it many times and I'll repeat it again, but the problem with building this station is it's so darn big. Like it's over 4 feet long, so then you're getting into piecing the roof pieces together. I don't like doing that. When I'm modeling stuff, especially if it's got straight lines to it, I like to use one single piece or as few piece possible. That's how you get straight and true lines. So there's the balsa piece that I had designed. That one would have went like this. So this one was all ready to go on, and I was working on the other side, and I broke the corner piece off here. And the thing about this balsa is if you look at this stuff wrong, it'll break. It's just so flimsy. It's almost like a foam. And it's the nice thing is it's really easy to work with. You know, I had this on my table saw. I like the thickness of it. It's about 1/8, maybe just under 1/8 of an inch. So that would have done good for simulating the fascia on the eaves. But it's too delicate, and I didn't want to go down that road and then potentially spend all this time working on the station and then have, you know, you lean on it, something, you bust it. So the balsa idea went out, and I went and got some 1.5 and 2 mil styrene sheets, the biggest ones I could get from Evergreen, which are I think 36 inches, and I just went with piecing it together. So you can see there's several pieces. What I did was I set the bevel on my table saw to 14 degrees. I'll throw in a picture here of how I measured that. A lot of this is eyeball, and then also using calipers on my paper station plans that I got from the Glenbow Archives in Calgary, Alberta. That's why I got the plans for this. It's probably not noticeable because we're standing so far back, but the fascia here along this edge, that's actually vertical, just like the real thing. And the thickness of that 1.5 mil styrene is about the thickness of the fascia on the station. So I figured rather than go and try and make some kind of artificial fascia and have to wrap the whole station in that, I would just bevel the edges of the styrene, and that way I can paint them. So you can see that's why it's painted that red station color, and that will just be the edge that shows. And then I will go ahead and do my photorealistic shingles that I've got pictures of. I still have to make the artwork, but I'll be printing those shingles off to go on there, and I think it's going to look pretty good. If you look closely, maybe we'll do like a telephoto shot or something, but it looks pretty cool how that's beveled and vertical, and the angles are all right and everything. Still looks kind of weird from this end because that addition's not on there, so you can see the bare edge of the cold storage for baggage. It just changes the whole look of this scene, having this very large building now take the kind of center stage of this section of the layout. So it's pretty cool watching that kind of unfold. You can see kind of in the overview of the scene, that station, it's definitely the centerpiece of this whole section. So next steps with the station are to finish that baggage addition like I talked about. Then I'll be going on to the second floor roof lines, and that's probably going to take a while too because it's got just a ridiculous number of peaks on it. Like it's got the obvious ones here, 1, 2, and then it also has a third one in the center. And then if we look from the top, so there's that additional little tiny peaks here that run lengthwise, and there's 2 little short kind of gable ends there, so it'll be like 1, 2, and then there's a middle piece that connects. So all in total, and I'll probably just start with the biggest ones first, I think. So I'll do the 2 obvious ones, 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'll connect them with the 7th one. It's a very really busy roof structure. And then also I've got the chimney to build right here, which sticks out on the track side. So kind of behind the scenes process for the Banff station roof. I've got my plans here, which are invaluable, especially if you figure out, because they're not in HO scale obviously, I just got whatever scale they were at Glenbow, but then I figured out what the multiplier is to make them HO scale, and then I can use calipers and measure off these because they're scale plans, and times them by the multiplier, then that gives me HO scale. So I keep these handy, and then I've got my table saw right beside it, and that's where I've been cutting roof pieces. And the blade is set at 14 degrees right now because that's the roof pitch on the station. And I've been running all the styrene through the table saw to put that bevel on it. It's actually been working quite well, and most importantly, I still have all my digits. You know, when you're cutting really small stuff, you want to be extra careful around that table saw when you're cutting really small and really thin stuff. You can see this is this side square. That's how it comes. And then I run it through the table saw to put that bevel on it. And this one hasn't been cleaned up. The table saw melts it a little bit, so you got to kind of clean it up with a file. But you know, a minute or so with a file, and you can make it really nice. And then you've got the perfect bevel on it there to match the real thing. So other than that progress on the Banff station roof, that was it for stuff I actually got done on the layout. Over here on the workbench though, I do have a follow-up to last month when I showed you guys I finally organized my spray paint and built some custom shelving for it. And then I was inspired to just keep going and do my airbrush paints because that was also a mess. So I made some really cool floating 1/8 hardboard shelves, all custom heights to fit all of my collection of airbrush paints and maskings and you name it. Everything I've got is now on this side of my airbrush booth, and man, I wish I would have done this years ago because it's so much easier to find colors now and mix colors when I need to. Streamlines the whole process of you need to paint something, okay, I need to mix a color, and okay, where is my blue? I don't know where I saw it last, and I go dig through my Tupperwares. I had everything just kind of thrown in this Tupperware, and it was a terrible setup. So much cleaner, and I really like the look of these floating shelves too. It's pretty cool. There's no nails or screws throughout the whole thing. They're all just put on with CA glue actually. I had a bunch of scrap hardboard left over from doing the removable plexiglass edging on my staging loops, and I had ripped a whole bunch of 1/8 stuff. I'm a big fan of just using whatever you have at hand, and so I had lots of little strips of that, so I cut it down, one flat piece, and then edged with about 1 centimeter kind of lip so that stuff doesn't fall off of it, and they are solid. So the side profile of it, you can see it's strapped with just a piece of that green MDF stuff that I like so much. So I used a laser actually, and put them on with the laser and CA glued this and let it sit for a day, and then I went and built the little shelf and then put that on top of there. Really simple and clean, and solved all my problems with being unorganized in my paint department. So that pretty much wraps it up for layout progress, guys. It was a slow month down here. I was gone for a week and a half. Went back home to our family farm and spent some time with my brother and my dad, cleaning up some land and kind of tidying up our farmyard, and actually I've been really enjoying it. It's like modeling but in 1-to-1, and you get to use really big tools. I'll throw in a little video here, but we were knocking down trees and cleaning stuff up. We were hauling out some old cars that my dad had just parked in the bush in the back 40. And before we took them to the scrapper, he was cleaning them out and he found this and he said, "Hey, Ben, you want this?" And I said, "Heck yeah, I want that. That is awesome." I'd actually been thinking about needing a square or something to do small styrene, especially when I'm working on the station roof where everything's like smaller than 4 inches. And there's a cool backstory on this thing. I mean, other than the fact that it sat in the bush for like 10 years in the glove box of this really old Volkswagen truck, my dad and my grandpa found this at an auction. I have no idea where, somewhere in Saskatchewan. My dad bought it. I think it came like a little box of tools, and he said he paid $5 for it. And it's really heavy duty construction. Like, you can tell, old school tools are just quality. You know, there's something about them. Like, he's got this. I want to clean it up and kind of restore it a little bit, but you can see there's like these little notches on this thing that loosens the chuck on the slide, and it's just a really cool tool, especially for HO scale modeling. This is perfect. So it has some writing on here. Number 3, the LSS Company, Athol, Massachusetts, USA. So no idea how old this thing is, but really cool. And I was grateful, for my dad to find that. I'm glad we decided to go clean those old trucks out of the bush. And cool to hear a piece of family history about something my dad and my grandpa found. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. That's going to wrap up this layout update video, guys. As always, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll see you next time.